everybody, we're the Grub Masters, and we are delighted to be here at Camp Kinda Lika. We wanted to share with you a very, very simple dish. We know all the camps are closed, you're doing this virtually, and we wanted to give you something that you could do at home with a minimal amount of gear and low fuss, no muss.
You could actually even do this on the stove inside your house if you don't have a camp stove or the ability to cook outside. So this is very adaptable to what you're dealing with as you're working from home.
And we're doing this in a Camp Dutch oven, and we're not using charcoal. We're actually doing it on a camp stove.
Imagine that.
Because it's a very wet meal, and we're just we're gonna brown some meat and we're gonna let it simmer. And you don't need a ton of charcoal for that. You don't need any top heat for that. I don't even think we're gonna use the lid. So we've got, we should tell you what we're gonna do. We've got sausage and peppers, real favorite. And make things easier on yourself. I was able to get these already frozen. I just let them thaw out a little bit while we were setting up today. And I've got some canned sauce. I've got onions. I don't like buying onions frozen because they're usually diced and they're a little too small. I want to have nicer sized pieces. So we'll slice up some onions. We're gonna throw a little garlic. We've got our sausage back there. We'll brown that up. And it's really, once you brown up the sausage, dump everything in, let it sit. Couldn't be simpler. So let's get started. I'm gonna slice up some onions.
Great.
So to do this, I like to just slice off both ends. And I got my little garbage bucket there. And then what I like to do is I just score around the onion. And now I could just pretty easily peel away that outer layer that I don't care about. And now I've got a nice onion that I could chop in half. And then what I'm gonna do, because again, I want some sizable pieces, I'm gonna just kind of chunk it up a little bit and I'm gonna go sideways on this round. So if I were to go this way, I would end up with half rings, which is fine, but I'm just gonna kind of chunk it up a little bit and that's it, right into our bowl. So we'll slice the rest of these up.
And how many onions do you have there, John?
I've got like 5 onions, so I just really eyeballed it.
And I guess it depends on the size of the onion and all.
Yep, and these are yellow sweet onions. I just really like those.
And while you're doing that, would you like me to open these cans?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Why don't you talk a little bit about that can opener too?
So this is a can opener. I know a lot of us have that inexpensive can opener in our gear bag. Spend a little more money and get a decent can opener, because I don't know about you, but I can't stand the frustration with the inexpensive can openers jumping off the edge of the rim and creating problems. This one locks down on top and just spins around nicely. Isn't that much heavier than one of the other lids. And in no time, unlock it, I'm done.
And if you find it hard to kind of score the onion like I'm doing, I'm in the habit of doing that because sometimes I want to dice my onions. But if you're just going to chunk them up anyway, you could just chop it in half, and now it couldn't be easier to get that last little layer off.
The other thing you could do is, in advance of going camping, if you were doing this on an outing, is chop up your onion ahead of time, put it in a Ziploc bag, take a Sharpie, label the outside of the bag for what meal it's for, and this will be obvious that it's onion. But if anytime you're prepping stuff ahead of time, also put on it what it is. It's onion, it's for our sausage lunch or our sausage dinner.
And let me just actually get these out. So we're really getting everything all prepped and ready so that we could just dump it right into our Dutch oven when it's time. It's got a little soggy there on the outside, huh? And these are like those stir fry peppers, but they're just perfect for this. Another option, if you could find it, it's not always easy, is if you could get kind of the food service onions in a can that already have the onions, peppers in a can that already have the onions in there. Those are awesome because now it's just another can that you pop open. Mm-hmm. So, all right, our veggies are all prepped. We're gonna throw a little garlic in, but we're gonna wait till it's about 3/4 of the way through just to get that garlic flavor in there. So now it's time to turn our attention to those sausages. Okay, so the camp stove's rolling. We're at about a medium-high heat on that. We've got our sausages ready to go. Carl's gonna open those up and dump them in, but before we do, we're just gonna get a splash of oil on the bottom of this pan. Got a little avocado oil. I like it because it's got a high smoke point, which means it's not going to burn if it gets hot as quickly as like an olive oil will. And it's a pretty neutral oil. There's not a lot of taste to it. So, all right, so that's in there. Let's toss in our sausages. And these are just links of Italian sweet sausage. You like things hot? You want to turn it up a bit? Get some hot sausage.
One of those examples where you want to get your stove level so that when you put the oil in it, it isn't all draining to one side and it evenly coats the bottom.
So we're just going to brown these off, and then we're going to throw in our vegetables, our sauce, and then we're going to let it simmer off. So let's, boy, that already sounds good. It's starting to smell good too. Okay, everything's nicely browned, and this stove's done a good job. If anything, it's hot. So we're gonna dump in 2 cans of tomato sauce, and then we're gonna get our veggies in. And that's it. We are basically going to just let this simmer and stew down, and those vegetables are going to shrink up, get nice and soft, meld all those flavors together, and it's going to be eating time. Carl, it's eating time.
I can guarantee you it's eating time.
Now this little lovely was on there for about a half hour. Truth be told, that stove, we had a little trouble adjusting it. You're probably gonna have an easier time with yours. So we just had to keep this moving, but it wasn't a problem at all because this is so wet, it's so forgiving. You just don't want that tomato sauce to burn. Now, a word on tomato sauce in Dutch ovens.
So people may freak out because we're using tomato sauce on cast iron. It is acidic. I wouldn't do this dish every time in your Dutch oven, but when you're using your Dutch oven and seasoning it occasionally, you can use a tomato-based product in it periodically. Make sure you clean it out well. Don't let it sit in there for long periods of time, and you'll be fine.
And just oil it back up, and
Oil it
it'll
back
be
up.
great to go. So, all right, so let's just get into this. Now, one thing that I consciously did, and you might be at home saying, oh, mom always slices it. You can slice it into buttons if you want your sausage. You could do that before or after. I like to do them whole because I never know if I'm gonna, well, I usually know ahead of time, but just for sake of example, you might want to make a sausage and pepper hoagie or sub, so it just gives you some options. We're just gonna cut these in our plate and just get a quick little scoop there, Carl.
Yeah, some of those big, not hot dog rolls. There's no way a hot dog roll, but they're like a small hoagie roll would be awesome with this. And you could even put some of those peppers and onions right on that roll.
So I've got this just with a little Italian bread, and I think it's meant to be dipped for sure. Get a little taste of that sauce. And I put literally no seasoning in this because the tomato sauce already had a little bit of seasoning. The sausage has a lot of salt in it. We put all our aromatics in there. I was going to hit it with a little pepper. I tasted it. I didn't feel like it needed it. So, season it to taste.
The onions that you put in there, they're almost translucent. They're nice and soft.
They're not brown, but they're soft. That's what you want.
That's delicious.
So definitely a meal meant to be shared. That's a big pot. Sausage.
Got nicely browned when we were just cooking it in the bottom of the Dutch oven. And then as it cooked in that tomato sauce with the veggies, it just kept it nice and moist and delicious.
Yeah, everything's juicy. I mean, it didn't hurt that it was cooking in a pot of sauce, but really, again, the idea is it's easy to do. You could dump everything out of bags and cans and brown a little meat, and you're just golden. So we hope that we've inspired you to get out there and cook, have fun, use your imagination, and enjoy.